All right, so commercial real estate took a pretty hard hit during COVID because a lot of people were not going into the workplace. They're not going to the office. They're not going to the building that they work every day. Well, let me tell you what, people are tired of being stuck at home. They are ready to get back out. We are social creatures. So in this video, I'm gonna be talking about, is investing in commercial property a good idea? Okay, so first I'm gonna give you my definition of what commercial real estate is, and then I'm gonna talk about some pros and some cons about commercial real estate. And by the end of this episode, you will know, is now a good time to be investing in commercial real estate? Okay, here's my layman terms of commercial real estate. So commercial real estate is a piece of real estate that you buy that someone rents from you or pays you to do business in that location, whether it be on that piece of land or that property or that commercial office building or the retail space or a warehouse. What commercial real estate is not is where someone pays to live there. That is residential. You might be like, well, Brent, what about a 400 unit apartment complex? It's commercial in the bank's eyes. Anything over 4 units is usually commercial in the bank's eyes, so they give you a commercial loan for that. But that is still residential real estate. That is between humans doing a deal. Commercial real estate is more lease contract centric. I'm gonna give this business actually a contract to rent my building so they can do commerce in that building, to do business in that building. Your tenants are usually businesses. It is commercial real estate to business, C2B basically. And that business wants the best environment. They wanna keep the walls nice. They wanna keep the carpets clean because they're conducting businesses. That is their livelihoods. That is my layman's term definition of what commercial real estate is. And I'm gonna drive the point down home a little bit more. What about an RV park? Is that commercial real estate? If you're running the RV park and you own the RV park and you're managing the RV park, you are in the residential business. But let's just say that you own the land that the RV park rents and does their business there, and someone else is managing that and conducting that business and running that business. You are in the commercial real estate arena because you are renting it to a company to do business there, to do commerce there. So I hope that definition makes sense between commercial and residential. All right, I want to talk about a con right now of commercial real estate. You know, since COVID-19, office spaces have taken a massive hit. I actually purchased a office building early 2019, and we took it from a pawn shop, which was a retail space that had a hole in the roof and it was leaking. It was, tons of work needed on this building, and I converted it over to an office building. So we had to rezone it. We had to go before the city planning and zoning department, had to do all these things, but we also had to renovate it. And then we also had to fill this office with, it was actually a co-working and shared space. We had to fill this office with tenants, people that wanted to actually, get away from home and work out of home. And I thought it was gonna be a phenomenal idea because, we're all tired of being at home and working from home. Well, it was actually just the wrong location for it. So it actually never took off. I mean, I got a maximum of 4 guests, 4 tenants, 4 residences over about a 1.5 years time frame. And we were doing marketing via Facebook and Craigslist and pay-per-click and signs. And I was spending all this money for this building to sit. So it actually completely failed. And I ultimately rented that office out for $3,000 a month to an organization, a nonprofit organization. And you can look it up. It's 2708 East Fountain Boulevard. The place rents it. It's an organization that helps homeless youth, and they are loving the building. It's a perfect location for them. So sometimes when you buy commercial, you might realize that what you had intended for that building did not work out. There could have been some ways I could have tested it. I might have been able to open up a coffee shop and have done a little bit better with the co-working side of it. Hindsight is always 2020, but it took me almost a 1.5 years to learn that lesson in commercial. So do the research ahead of time, try and figure out a way ahead of time, maybe get the lease from the tenant ahead of time. And that's a strategy that I learned from Dolph DeRue. He is the international commercial guy. He does more international commercial deals than anybody else. And I had the opportunity to get him to one-on-one coach me for about 6 months. And Dolph taught me that if you can get a lease from a tenant, say a Starbucks or a Wendy's or a McDonald's, not McDonald's because they buy their own buildings, but you probably get what I'm saying here. If you can get a lease in advance and you have your eye on a building you can go and get a lease on that building contingent upon you buying it. So what do I mean by that? I'm gonna go to Starbucks because I now have a location in mind. It's a beautiful building, and I'm gonna say, hey, Starbucks, would you be interested in renting this building for this amount per month for this many years, contingent upon me buying it? And if they sign that lease contingent upon me buying it, I can now bring that lease to a bank and get a loan on that building for about 50% of what that lease is gonna bring. So for instance, if the lease brings in, let's just say really round numbers, really round numbers, $100,000 per year, and looking at a 10% cap rate, you can multiply that 100,000 times 10, and that will give you $1 million evaluation of that building. It would say that building is worth $1 million. And you bring that to the bank. You bring that 10-year lease to the bank because the bank wants to see a long-term lease. They want to see a long-term way of you paying them back for that loan. So if you bring that 10-year lease to that bank that's going to make you $100,000 a year in gross revenue, and you're in a cap rate of a 10 area, this is just for really round numbers, by the way, that bank will probably lend you about half the money on that $1 million. They'll probably lend you about $500,000. So now you go to the building owner and say, I can pay you $390,000 or whatever. I can pay you $400,000 or $500,000 and possibly get a 100% financed commercial loan. So I want to tell you how Dolph told me this story. So Dolph, and I might be messing it up a little bit, I heard it through Dolph a few months ago, but Dolph said that he had a funeral home in mind. He wanted to buy this building. Not that he wanted to get in the funeral home business, which it might not be a bad business because people are dying to see them every single day. But he had this funeral home in mind. He wanted to buy the building. It was on a major road that so much traffic was going by. And what he did was he paid his assistant $15 an hour. And this was back in like the 80s, and I think it was in New Zealand where he did this. But he paid his assistant $15 an hour to call all the funeral homes in the region. So what she did was she kept circling, she kept expanding and expanding and expanding. And finally she found a funeral home that said, absolutely, if you buy that building, I will lease it from you for a very long time, but you've got to give me a 30-year lease. There's no way I'll do it unless I have a 30-year lease. I've been wanting to move to that area for so long. So guess what? They got literally a 30-year lease under contract, under a lease agreement, contingent upon Dolph buying that funeral home. So what did he do? He took that to the bank, he got the loan to buy that funeral home, and I'm pretty sure he still owns that building today. Okay, before I move on to the next other classes of commercial real estate, definitely comment in the comment section if you're getting anything out of this. Like this video, smash the subscribe button, whatever you prefer, just show me a little love. And you know what? The YouTube algorithms love it when you do this. So thank you so much for doing that. All right, next let's talk about warehouses. I personally do not own warehouses, but this is on my next object of shiny objects. So as entrepreneurs, as visionaries, we call it shiny objects because everything's a shiny object. It's like little dollars trickling down the road dancing for you, but we want to get into everything, and the problem is we can't do everything. But my next investment I'm looking at is probably going to be warehouses. Warehouses are some of the best things because you pretty much just have a piece of land with a building on it and electric and water and sewer and all that stuff, and your tenants are the ones that convert that warehouse of exactly how they want it. These are just massive buildings. You usually see these outside of airports or major, busy areas, or sometimes industrial areas. But I love the fact of them being outside of airports because you can get things to and from these warehouses. So next on my shiny objects, and they are absolutely doing amazing. I don't care what the economy is doing. Usually warehouses are kind of always, in high demand. And then I'm gonna get to my favorite, and that is land. I love buying and selling land. This is a commercial business because no one's living on it. No one is living on this land. I'm usually selling it to a business or somebody that's looking to build a business or to develop the land. Builders buy the land from me, and I've got a unique strategy where I buy land at crazy massive discounts and I sell this stuff in my sleep. If you're interested in looking more into, is commercial real estate a good idea right now, or maybe you're looking to get into land, head on over to thelandsharks.com. I hope you enjoyed this episode. See you on the next one.